The evening had begun like any other, familiar and predictable, yet I had put in more effort than usual. I had spent the entire afternoon meticulously preparing dinner, determined to create a perfect setting. The rich, savory aroma of rosemary and garlic filled the air as the lamb roasted in the oven, a scent that once would have drawn him eagerly to the kitchen. The dining table was set with care, each piece of silverware aligned precisely, each wine glass positioned at just the right angle. Even the candles were lit, their soft glow casting flickering shadows on the walls, adding warmth to the otherwise quiet space. It had been too long since we'd shared an evening without interruptions, and I wanted tonight to be different. I needed it to be different. A glance at my phone told me he was late. Not significantly, but just enough to unsettle me. It wasn't unusual, yet an inexplicable unease began to take root in my chest. I tried to dismiss it, telling myself I was being paranoid. Still, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was off. The past few months had been strained, conversations growing fewer, his gaze turning distant, our smiles forced and brittle. But I wasn't ready to believe that we had reached a breaking point. Tonight was supposed to be a step toward mending what had frayed between us. Then, at last, the front door creaked open. Relief flooded through me as I smoothed down my dress, inhaling deeply before stepping into the hallway to greet him. But the moment our eyes met, my stomach twisted into a knot. There was something different about him. His expression was unreadable, a blend of exhaustion and something else I couldn't quite place. He didn't offer a smile, didn't say a word, just walked past me, straight into the dining room. I followed, suddenly uncertain. He pulled out a chair and sat, his gaze flickering over the table. I waited, hoping he would acknowledge the effort I had put into the evening, the thoughtfulness behind every detail. But he remained silent. Swallowing my disappointment, I forced a smile and attempted to break the tension. "I made your favorite," I said softly, placing the plate in front of him. "I thought we could have a nice dinner together, just us." He nodded, but his eyes didn't meet mine. Instead, his body tensed, his hands curling into fists on his lap. His jaw tightened as though he were bracing himself for something unpleasant. Confused, I followed his gaze. My breath caught in my throat when I saw what had drawn his attention. An extra plate. A second set of silverware. I blinked, my mind scrambling for an explanation. I hadn't meant to set two places. It must have been muscle memory, an unconscious habit, or a simple mistake. But the damage had already been done. He finally looked up at me, and for the first time in what felt like years, I saw something raw in his expression, something dangerously close to real emotion. "Who was here?" His voice was calm, eerily so, but the sharp edge beneath it was unmistakable. "No one," I answered quickly, my own voice trembling. "It was just a mistake. I didn't. Don't." He cut me off, shaking his head. His exhale was sharp, controlled. Then, without another word, he pushed his chair back. Panic surged through me as he stood. He wasn't yelling, wasn't accusing me outright, but somehow his silence was worse. He was just leaving. "Please," I started, reaching for his arm, desperate to make him understand. "You have to believe me. No one was here." But he pulled away, refusing to meet my eyes. He didn't demand answers. He didn't argue. He simply turned and walked out the door, leaving me standing there, breathless, shaking, and utterly alone. For what felt like hours, I remained frozen, the weight of what had just happened pressing down on me. I wanted to call him, to run after him, to scream that this was all a terrible misunderstanding. But deep down, I knew it wouldn't matter. If he had trusted me, he would have stayed. If he had believed me, he would have given me the chance to explain. He never came back. He never asked for the truth. Days blurred into weeks, and eventually I stopped waiting. The silence between us became permanent, an abyss too wide to cross. The marriage we had spent years building unraveled in a single night. Maybe he had been looking for a reason to leave. Maybe he had already made up his mind before he even walked through that door. Or maybe, sometimes, Trust is so fragile that even the smallest crack can shatter it beyond repair.